Hey friends, what's up? How are you? Today's video is on The Takeover by TL Swan. Oh my gosh, you guys. I think I'm ready to admit, and I've kind of been tossing this around a little bit in the past couple days. Well, the past day since I finished it, but as I was reading it as well. I think this is my favorite book ever by her. Can you believe that? You know, I've talked about her several times on my channel. I love her books. I love her stories. I fell in love with her writing way back in the beginning when I first read the Stanton series. That's way up on a pedestal for me with her books. What else is there a word where I can say, see, this is why I'm not an author. But holy smokes, I think Tristan and Claire are tied. I don't want to relinquish the first place spot. I'm not quite ready, but I think it is. I think it's my favorite. There was something about Tristan when I read the Stopover that I honed in on him. And I think I even mentioned it in my video. I meant to go back and look to see if I did. But I think I even mentioned in my video about him that I was like, who's Tristan? I want to know more. Tristan Miles. So this is The Takeover. The Stopover is the first book. That's about Jameson and Emily. This is about Jameson's brother Tristan and Claire. The Takeover takes place in New York. Tristan is a bachelor in his younger 30s, very eligible, extremely successful, works for Miles Media, which is his family company. He's very close to his brothers, Jameson, Christopher, and Elliot. Of course, like I said, we met Jameson in the Stopover. Tristan is known as kind of the takeover king. He buys companies that are struggling, takes them apart, and then sells off what he can, kind of like Edward in Pretty Woman. And then Claire she has her own company, almost like a competitor, but her company is on the down. She is a widow. Her husband died 5 years previous. It was their dream. It was his dream that she is trying to continue with the company. She has 3 children, 3 boys. Oh my gosh, did they add to the story? Fletcher, Harrison, and Patrick. I loved that T wrote a book about a woman like Claire. Claire's in her later 30s trying to be a mom, a grieving widow, a CEO, a friend, a daughter, a sister. She's trying to fill all these buckets she has in her life. And it's like the spinning plates, which one is going to fall? As a woman, I connected, and I know that T has 3 kids as well. And so as a woman, everything that Claire went through as a mom and a working mom, I was right there. I got her 100%. Tristan and Claire meet with Tristan coming hard at her for about 6 months because it's known that her company is failing and Tristan wants to buy it. That's what he does. So he's been hard at her for about 6 months and she finally agrees to have a meeting with him. So she goes to the meeting with her best friend, who's also her assistant, Marley. The sidekicks are always the best in T's stories. Marley was hysterical. When they agree to this meeting, they go to the meeting and they walk in and Marley's like, oh my God, he's hot. Oh my God. And Claire's like, shut up. You know, she's there as a powerful woman, a businesswoman, and she is not going to be pushed around by this man that wants to come take over her company, her dead husband's company, right? And her friend is like, oh my God, he's hot. And she's like, oh, yeah, but shh, don't say anything. It was hysterical. We get to know their personalities right away in that meeting. Claire puts him in his place. She takes him down a few pegs. And of course, Tristan is like, oh my. He's like, wow, women don't treat me like the way she's treating me. And I want some of that. He's immediately attracted to her. Tristan is confident, arrogant, but he's not like the typical alpha like Jameson is, like his brother is. He's not like domineering. He just has confidence that, and he knows what he wants. And that can come off as arrogance, but there's this softness that I felt with him. I was mush. Fast forward after that meeting, several months later, her company's still failing. She's at her wit's end. She doesn't really know what to do. Marley suggests she goes to this retreat that's supposed to help inspire you as a business person and kind of get your focus back on and psych you up and motivate you. So Marley talks her into going to this conference. And she's like, psh, okay, fine. I'll go to the conference and I'll just go get massages and like drink in my room. Because she has no interest in going really, but she goes. Who of course is one of the keynote speakers, but none other than Tristan. The interaction that they have was so funny. Like when they first saw each other. And like, I'm even crying about it because I just loved it so much. So funny. The way he writes their relationship, they are on such equal footing as far as how they can go at each other and their quick wit and their banter. They are so equally matched when it comes to all that. And that's where I'm trying to explain that like he wasn't domineering over her. Yes, he wants to help her and get busy with her, but they were equally matched in their personalities of being really fiery and really equal. And I loved that. And that became really apparent not only in their first meeting, but in their second meeting at the conference. I know that I've mentioned before that T's books play out like a movie in my head, and they do. But this would make the best movie. The way she wrote this story, how she describes things, them as characters, the story, it just, they could literally make it exactly how she wrote it and it would be a blockbuster because it checks so many boxes and would appeal to so many people. It's a rom-com in a way in how their banter is and the funny stuff she writes and the real life stuff that you just can't help laugh at. It's a tragedy. There's drama. It could be a really juicy porn. I mean, it's just everything. I really do feel like she's so gifted and wish that I could see her books as movies. We do see some characters from previous books in this book. I love how she's tying them together a bit. For me as a reader, that reminds me about the other books, and to see those characters all together, I love. There is some heaviness to this book in that Claire is a widow. I got that. She had a great love with her husband. She thought that was it. She wasn't really looking for anybody else, but in walks Tristan. He was supposed to be the fun guy for her to have a little, sexy time with, get her out of her funk a bit. She's still grieving. And she has these 3 boys that she's trying so hard to be mom and dad to. And there's things that she said about her husband that just killed me. This is how she talks about her husband, Wade. 5 years next month. I was 33 when I lost my husband, just coming into my sexual prime. I lost a lot that day, and not just him, a major part of who I was. Wade and I met in college, we dated for 2 years, and then the unthinkable happened. I became pregnant on the pill at the tender age of 20. Wade was ecstatic. I mean, he never had any doubts that we were going to be together. He told me on our 4th date that he was going to marry me. He was 3 years older than me and thought he knew everything. I get a flashback of us kissing and laughing, rolling around in bed, making love, and my heart hurts. I don't just miss him, I miss everything that we did together. The way he made me feel like a woman every time he looked at me. Arousal, the rush of an orgasm. I close my eyes in disgust. Oh God, here we go. I need to stop drinking. I need to remember now. I need to remember why I don't drink. It makes me sad, like a big dark blanket that comes to rest over my shoulders, one that's heavy and laden with responsibilities. Don't you just understand that completely? So Claire is grappling with the loss of herself in that time in life. She's no longer a wife. Her boys are getting older. She's got a company that's not surviving. And she's trying to figure out, like, where is my life that I knew? Where is my life going? And in walks Tristan. And he reminds her about who Claire is. Separate from all of those things, he sees Claire and he wants Claire and he wants to be a part of Claire's life. And it was something that I loved about him, is that in all the other ways that they didn't work, because he's like single, jet setter, can do whatever he wants, has more money than he needs, could have anybody, and yet he meets Claire and he's like, oh my gosh. And it's so fluid for him. It's so easy because it's just the way his personality is. And that he knows, and one of the first thing that he says when he is like, no, listen, I want to do this. She says that it's not only her heart she has to be worried about, but it's the 3 hearts that come along with her. And he took that seriously. Tristan is unwavering in how he pursues her. And it wasn't like, oh, the chase. It was him organically coming into her life and just fitting in a way that was very organic. He can't help keep moving forward with her. And that means being part of her everyday life, right? And yet Claire keeps him in check and kind of puts the kibosh on certain things. And he didn't steamroll himself in there. Well, he kind of did, but not like in a way that he's going to come in and swoop in and save her. I didn't feel that. Although it does get brought up a little bit later in the book. And I got really pissed at that moment. And I'm like, oh, okay, here's the drama. But you know how it affected Tristan? It just solidified the fact that that's where he wants to be, with Claire. And all that Claire has. As far as her kids, her life, that's where he wants to be. So the drama for him wasn't really drama. That Claire is the most important thing to him. She comes first, and everything else he knows is there. And he's like, bring it on. Let's go. I see it. I know what's there. And that's exactly what she needed. She needed someone to see her and be her partner in everything else. And that's all Tristan wanted. There is some laugh out loud. I was hysterical with tears down my eyes, laying in bed, shaking the bed because I'm laughing so hard, and crying because I'm laughing so hard, and trying not to wake up my husband next to me moments in this book. Oh my gosh, so funny. Brilliant, funny moments. When he first meets her kids, and when you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. Too much. I loved the way he stepped in to help them, because that was just who he was in certain moments where they might have needed help. The way he was with her son Patrick. Oh, just, I'm gonna get all teary. The way he was with all 3 boys, very special. Very well written. As a mom, oh my gosh. As a woman, ovaries exploding. Just amazing. He's so tender in moments and so strong in moments. I just really fell in love with him. Like I said, there's seriously funny moments and there's absolute comedy gold in them. And I want to mention a couple of them because when you read it, I want you I want you to recognize those moments for the genius that they are. The jockey shorts, TikTok, Tristan's nicknames for the boys, Tristan demanding Jameson's suit, and how Claire says that she is turning Tristan, that she wants to change him, and she's going to turn him into a mother effer. Oh my God, it was so good. When it comes down to it, Claire is hanging on to things that she's white knuckling, things that she needs to let go of. And I didn't know if she was going to let go of them. And they have a really serious moment. And I felt like it was the last straw, that if she didn't figure things out, that we weren't going to get a happily ever after. I was so devastated because I needed Tristan. And don't get me wrong, I loved Claire. I love Claire. But I got to a point with her in this moment where I was like, Claire, how are you not seeing this? Fletcher says something to her. I think it was Fletcher. He says to her, and I'm paraphrasing, and oh my gosh, I'm getting teary. He says to her, can't you see it? Tristan was sent to us. And when he said that, the floodgates. I mean, I was already like, stomach hurt, like couldn't put the book down. It's, you know, it's at that crescendo. And I was feeling like, Claire, you gotta let go. And then Fletcher says this, and I'm like, there it is. That's exactly what she needed to hear. And there was still drama. There still was, but that's where my heart was like, oh, okay. Okay, there you go, Claire. That's the gift that you need. That's the grace that you need to be able to move forward. And it came from her son. We do get a happily ever after with the Takeover. I know you will love this book just as much as I did. Their love story is absolutely one of my favorites. Let me know which other of T's books you have read in the comments below. Or, you know, I always post these videos on my social media, so you could comment on that post as well. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Cat Reads Romance. Thank you for taking a second to give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and consider subscribing. It not only helps me and my channel, but it will also help this video get shown to more people on YouTube. I don't want to say goodbye. I want to keep talking about them. I could go on and on and on. I just love them so much. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you soon. Bye.